Okay, let's dive in. I have to start with this. The most dangerous man I ever met was already legally dead.
Wow. Okay. That's quite the opening statement.
Right. And when he slid that death certificate across the table, uh, I just knew we'd made a terrible mistake taking his wife's divorce case.
So this starts as what? A standard divorce
It
proceeding,
did.
or seemingly standard.
Exactly. You can picture it, right?
Yeah.
The law firm conference room, slightly stale air, uh, maybe cheap coffee brewing somewhere down the hall. A lot of anxiety, though. Expensive anxiety.
The usual tension.
Yeah, but amplified because this client, John Mercer, if that was even his name,
Yeah.
he was 17 minutes late. We were already prepped for, the usual back and forth. His wife was having an affair with my senior partner, so yeah.
Okay, so high conflict potential right from the start.
Yeah.
But the lateness, 17 minutes is specific.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's a power play, setting the tone.
Could be. And then he walked in, Mercer, and he just felt off. Wrong somehow. I actually wrote down later he moved like a glitch in reality.
A glitch in reality? What does that even mean?
Hard to explain. Just jerky. No, not jerky. Smooth, but unnatural. He wore this expensive suit, looked tailored, but also somehow worn, like a costume he wasn't comfortable in yet.
And the demeanor, given the affair.
That was the strangest part. His eyes were gray, shark gray, zero emotion. I brought up the affair, braced myself,
Yeah, expecting fireworks.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was like talking to, well, a wall. An expensive, slightly glitchy wall.
That lack of reaction is
Well,
interesting. In psychology, we'd call that a flat affect. But in this context, it sounds more like deliberate control, almost weaponized calmness.
weaponized calmness. I like that. That fits. Then we moved on to assets. Standard procedure, right? Financials.
Where's the money?
And he just calmly says, the house isn't mine. The cars aren't mine. Points to his wrist. He's wearing this Patek Philippe, easily worth 6 figures. Even this watch belongs to a friend in Medellin.
Whoa! Okay, hold on. Dylan. He just drops that casual.
Actually, like he was saying, a friend in Miami. But, Medellin, it just hung there in the air.
That word carries weight. Serious weight. It immediately shifts the frame from messy divorce to something else entirely, something potentially dangerous, cartel territory.
My thoughts precisely. And
Yeah.
then the tech started acting up. My digital recorder, brand new, just died. Cut out completely.
Died, like battery failure.
No. We checked later. 37 seconds of just dead air. Science.
Yeah.
Then this burst of static, and it came back on.
37 seconds, okay.
After he left, we found it. A small matte black device on the table near him, a jammer.
A jammer. Okay, so he deliberately blocked the recording for that specific period. That's not standard divorce practice. That's counter-surveillance. What did he not want recorded?
We never found out what was said or not said in those 37 seconds. But yeah, counter surveillance in a divorce meeting, it was chilling.
Definitely raises the stakes. What happened next?
We were trying to make sense of his financials, claimed income, $64,000 a year, job title, caretaker.
64K. Okay.
But the asset list we'd preliminarily pulled, 14 vehicles, multiple Rolls Royces, a Bentley, vintage Mustangs. You get the picture.
14 cars, including Rolls Royces, on a caretaker's salary. Right.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
So I pointed out the discrepancy politely, and he just steepled his fingers, very precise, like a surgeon. I remember noticing he left no fingerprints on the glass table. None.
Wow. Okay, the details matter here. No prints, precise movements.
Sure.
This guy is careful. Very careful.
And then, this is weird, I know, the temperature in the room just plummeted. Seriously. We checked the thermostat later. It registered an 11-degree drop. I could see my breath.
The 11-degree drop. Inside. That's
Yeah.
physically strange. Could it be the AC unit malfunctioning or?
Maybe. But it felt linked to him. My breath was fogging. His wasn't. He just sat there, perfectly still. Then he slid this envelope across the table. Thick ivory paper. Gold embossed lettering. Looked like a wedding invitation.
But it wasn't, I'm guessing.
Not even close. Inside. Okay, get this. First, an official Colombian death certificate. For John Mercer. Dated 6 months prior.
His own death certificate. From Colombia.
His own. Looked legit. Official cremation orders from Bogota attached.
So the man sitting opposite you is legally dead, according to this document.
Apparently, then under that, a Polaroid, instant photo.
Yeah.
It showed Mercer's wife, my boss's mistress, looking very cozy with the young man in Medellin. The caption just said Medellin. Later, we identified the guy. El Dragon's youngest son.
El Dragon. Okay, so we're definitely talking high-level cartel connections now.
Yeah.
The wife, the son. This is bad. Really bad.
And the last thing in the envelope, nestled at the bottom, was a single bullet. A .50 caliber round. Huge, the kind that stops engines.
Jesus, a 50 cal. That's not subtle.
And it was wrapped in pristine, crisp Vatican Bank bond paper.
Wrapped in Vatican Bank paper. The symbolism there is just off the charts.
Yeah.
Power, death, finance, maybe even suggesting some kind of perverse blessing or high-level protection. It's deliberately confusing and terrifying.
Totally surreal. He stood up then, that whole glitch in reality thing again, just unfolded from the chair, looked right at me, voice completely flat, zero emotion. Tell your boss he's been a mouse.
A mouse?
The cat let him play. Now, the game's over, and then he just left, turned, walked out. No threats, no shouting, just gone.
And you just let him walk out. I mean, after all that.
We were stunned, frozen. Calling security, honestly, didn't even cross our minds. It felt inadequate, like calling pest control for Godzilla. We were way beyond normal protocol.
Understandable. So what did you do?
We started digging frantically, trying to figure out what the hell had just happened. We traced the money first, $14 million that had come in as supposed client retainers over the past year.
14 million. Wow. And where did it lead?
Through shell corporations, layer after layer, right back to Medellin.
Figures. And the boss, the senior partner.
By the time we figured out the money trail, he was already dead. Police found his body inside the trunk of his own car, which was on fire.
Oh my God. So Mercer wasn't bluffing. The game was over.
Seems so. And the police found his phone nearby, his very last text message, sent just hours before he died. 3 words.
Let me guess. The Zippo is the key.
Bingo. The Zippo is the key. Suddenly, this wasn't just a threat or a bizarre encounter. It was, well, a murder investigation with a cryptic clue tangled up with cartels and a dead man walking.
That Zippo becomes crucial then. It's the only thread you have, really, connecting everything.
Exactly. That meeting, it was just the beginning, just scratching the surface of something way, way bigger and darker. We had so many questions. Who was this guy? How could he be dead and alive? What was his real connection to the cartel? And what did the Zippo mean?
A whole web to untangle.
Yeah.
Where did the investigation lead next? Did you find the Zippo?
Oh, yeah. It took time, but the pieces started coming together. Crazy pieces. Like, our accountant dug into the money trail further. It wasn't just Medellin.
No. Where else?
Money flowed through Banco de Oro in Manila, then Silvergate Exchange in Delaware, the crypto bank.
Crypto, of course, adds another layer of anonymity.
Into this wallet called Dragon's Tooth, and finally consolidated into a hardware wallet, a model called Cold Steel. Very high security.
Okay, so a sophisticated international money laundering operation. Manila, Delaware, crypto. This wasn't small time.
Not at all. And remember my boss, the dead partner, his personal investments. Turned out he liquidated $2.3 million just before he died.
Into what? Cash.
37 gold bars, shipped discreetly to the Intercontinental Hotel in Medellin, signed for by El Dragon's nephew.
37 gold bars, signed for by the nephew. So the boss was likely trying to buy his way out or pay some kind of debt. A fatal miscalculation, it seems.
Looks like it. And the wife, Mercer's wife, the boss's mistress, we tracked her down. Sort of.
What do you mean, sort of?
Records showed she checked into a very exclusive, very private clinic in Belize, a place called Nuevo Rostro, New Face.
A plastic surgery clinic.
High-end, full facial reconstruction. The intake form cited trauma acid incident, and the medical notes mentioned her left pinky finger was missing.
Missing finger, acid incident, facial reconstruction. This sounds like she wasn't exactly on a vacation. Maybe she crossed someone, or maybe was staged to help her disappear.
Yeah.
The missing pinky is often a cartel signature, isn't it? A warning or punishment.
That's what we thought. Punished or perhaps altered for a new identity. Then there was the parking garage footage. The boss's Bentley, the one he was found in.
What did it show?
Something really strange happened the day before he died. The Bentley's parked. Suddenly, all the lights in the garage flicker, the car's lights go out. Looks like an EMP pulse.
An electromagnetic pulse to disable the car's electronics.
Seems like it. Then, hours later, same camera feed, the Bentley is moved, reparked in a slightly different spot. But the car sits lower on its suspension, noticeably heavier, especially the trunk.
Heavier. Oh no, don't tell me.
We don't know for sure when he ended up in there, but yeah, added weight in the trunk. And the license plate, it had been swapped. The new plate read XKJ 417.
XKJ 417. Okay, that seems significant, not random, like a code.
We thought so too, especially because the Zippo, we eventually got our hands on it. It was found in the boss's burned out office safe.
Ah, the key. What did it reveal?
Under UV light, engraved almost invisibly on the side were GPS coordinates. 16 degrees, 53 minutes north, 88 degrees over 4 minutes west. And below that, depth, 417 meters.
Okay, coordinates. Somewhere offshore Belize, it looks like. And 417 meters deep. That number again, 417. Same as the license plate.
Exactly. And the lab analysis of the Zippo itself. Traces of coca paste, residue of glue used in the Vatican library for antique paper restoration.
Vatican library glue. Seriously, that connects back to the bond paper around the bullet. This is intricate.
And human serum albumin, blood protein.
Whose blood? Mercer's. The wife's. The boss's.
Unclear. But wait, there's more. Inside the Zippo casing, where the flint wheel is, a tiny micro SD card.
Of course there was. What was on it?
Copies of incriminating internal law firm emails about the affair, the boss's secret insurance file detailing offshore accounts, and an audio clip, very short, just a distorted voice saying, "The mouse always runs toward the cheese."
The mouse always runs toward the cheese. Echoing Mercer's threat. The Zippo wasn't just a key, it was a whole damn dossier. Insurance, leverage, threat, all packed into a lighter.
You got it. Then we circled back to that clinic in Belize, Nuevo Rostro. Remember the wife had surgery there?
In a new face place.
We got access to their guest logs, an entry for Jay Mercer, checked into Isolation Suite 4 around the same time as the wife. Payment, 37 Muzo emeralds, high quality.
Mercer was at the clinic, paid with emeralds. 37 again. That number keeps popping up, like the gold bars.
But the security footage from outside Suite 4, it was corrupted, mostly static. But we recovered fragments. It looked like someone's face melting, like wax, black liquid dripping. Then a body bag being wheeled out on a gurney. It looked heavy. And someone had carved XKJ 417 into the side of the corpse's exposed arm.
Melting face. Black liquid. XKJ 417 carved onto a corpse in a body bag coming out of Mercer's isolation suite. What in the world is going on there? Is that Mercer or someone else? This is getting into really strange territory. Almost sci-fi horror.
It gets weirder. That body bag went to the local morgue. The attendant reported. The corpse started rapidly heating up on the table, like burning hot. Black fluid started leaking from the bag's seams.
Heating up.
Yeah.
Leaking black fluid. That's not normal decomposition.
Not at all. Then, according to the terrified attendant, a scalpel on a nearby tray lifted into the air by itself.
Levitated.
And carved XKJ into the metal table beside the body bag. Then it dropped. The attendant ran out screaming. When the police arrived, the body bag was zipped shut, but empty. Completely empty, except for a smooth handprint like melted plastic on the inside lining.
Okay, levitating scalpels, self-heating corpses, black fluid vanishing bodies. This is beyond cartel activity. This is something else, something unexplainable by normal means. An XKJ again.
Right, and the coordinates from the Zippo, 417 meters deep off Belize, led investigators to an offshore platform #417, officially listed as a deep-sea research station owned by Horizon Holdings.
Horizon Holdings.
Yeah.
Does that name connect?
They were the registered owner of the Bentley Mercer drove to our office. The platform received unusual shipments, liquid nitrogen, large quantities, and documents originating from the Vatican Bank.
Liquid nitrogen. Vatican documents. On an offshore platform linked to the Bentley and the coordinates. What are they doing out there?
The platform was positioned directly over a nexus of undersea communication cables, and it had servers linked to the Cayman Islands. Sonar scans of the seabed directly below at 417 meters. 17 heavy weighted bundles, shape consistent with, well, bodies wrapped in chains.
17 bodies at 417 meters below the platform linked to Mercer, the Bentley, the Vatican. This is a disposal site, a very sophisticated, very cold disposal site.
Seems likely. Meanwhile, our IT guy, Genius Kid, finally cracked that cold steel hardware wallet we recovered.
The Dragon's Tooth crypto ended up in, what did he find?
A final transaction record. A massive transfer out to an account labeled simply XKJ417. The memo line read, "Payment for services rendered."
XKJ 417 again. Payment for services rendered. So XKJ 417 isn't just a plate or a carving, it's an entity, an account, a designation for this operation.
Maybe. The wallet's creation date matched the date Mercer's death certificate was issued in Colombia, and the decrypted files inside. Evidence of widespread legal malpractice at my firm, blueprints for platform #417, and another audio file. Mousetrap armed.
Malpractice, blueprints, mousetrap armed. This wallet was the entire operation's black box, created when Mercer died, linking everything together. XKJ 417 seems central to it all.
So investigators eventually raided platform #417 helicopter assault. What they found inside was insane.
Go on.
The main control room, monitors everywhere showing disturbing feeds. Some look like distorted security footage, others just static or strange symbols. In the center of the room, a kind of throne made of melted gold bars.
A throne of gold bars, like the 37.
It looked like it, fused together. On the armrest, a signet ring, partially melted into the gold, dragon insignia, Eldragon's ring.
Possibly. Or symbolic. What else?
A figure was standing by the throne, dressed in Mercer's suit. But the face, it was shimmering, indistinct, like that glitch in reality I saw, but much worse. It turned towards the entry team. And it spoke, but the voice was layered, distorted. It demanded payment.
Payment from the investigators. Payment for what?
Didn't say, just payment. Then one of the investigators noticed the Zippo lighter from the evidence bag. It suddenly burst into flames in his hand. Not normal orange flames, bright blue, intensely hot.
Blue flame. Like chemical. Or
This-
melanin.
Before anyone could react, the whole platform rocked. A massive explosion ripped through the control center. The last thing the surviving comms officer heard over the radio, amidst the static and screams, was that distorted voice saying, "Account settled."
Account settled. And the platform destroyed. Mercer, or whatever that figure was, presumably gone. Along with the evidence, the throne, the monitors, a final violent closure.
Total destruction, no trace of the figure, the throne, anything. Just wreckage sinking into the 417-meter depth. So you're left wondering, who or what was John Mercer? Was he even human by the end? A cartel tool? A ghost? Something augmented or engineered? What was XKJ 417 really? And what kind of services require payment demanded by a melting figure on a throne of gold before blowing everything up?
It leaves you with profound uncertainty. The lines blur between advanced technology, sophisticated crime, and, well, something potentially paranormal or beyond our current understanding. The dead man wasn't just legal fiction. He seemed to operate outside the normal rules of life and physics. The true nature of the threat of XKJ 417 remains deeply ambiguous. A truly chilling thought.
Absolutely. It's a story that definitely sticks with you. Makes you question what's really possible in the shadows.
Indeed, a terrifying glimpse into a world operating on entirely different principles.
Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. If you found this story as gripping and unsettling as we did,
Make sure you follow along for more.
subscribe and like for more twisted true stories.